Steve and I talked about special event revenue management and pricing, something that is always high on the agenda with hotels around the world, and clearly another passionate subject for Steve.
You know, it's funny, drives me nuts. I've got a hotel right by US Bank Stadium, right?
Right here in Minneapolis, yeah.
Yeah, and when it's Vikings are playing, we do really well, right? Makes sense. If they're playing the right team.
All right.
So if the Vikings are playing Dallas, well, Dallas fans travel.
Right.
And they pay.
Right.
We do really well. But if we play, if whoever was playing Cleveland Browns that week, well, nobody's coming from Cleveland, right?
Okay.
So you wonder, can STR say, hey, these are the best sports teams that travel?
that drive demand.
They would absolutely be able to quantify that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean,
there must be a correlation between the team across the US and the amount of demand they generate.
Right, and where they are, and there's probably something you probably can do some regressions to say, are they having a good season or a bad season?
Yeah.
Right. Is it good weather or decent weather or horrible weather? Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at Packer fans. Well, it doesn't matter what it is; they're going to go wherever they need to go. Right.
Yeah. I mean, in a different life.
There absolutely is a correlation between demand and the team pairing. I shared with Steve that about 10 years ago, Ideas actually did some consulting work on stadium and events pricing for a sports team. There are also other factors that play a role, including weather and standing of the team in the overall ranking, all of which allowed the team we did the work for to fine-tune their season ticket pricing and in the end generate more revenues.
Yeah. So how are your hotels preparing for the Super Bowl?
My last question to Steve was the most important one. And of course, he had some interesting perspectives to share.
Super Bowls, it's funny because we have had a couple hotels of mine that have been some Phoenix properties and one out in Sunnyvale, California, which is right by Levi Stadium where the Super Bowl was last year, or 2 years ago. They're doing fine, and the reason in some ways, so it's all length of stay. Right, because the Super Bowl blocks are taking the 3 nights, right? They're Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and those were committed years ago at a very low rate.
Right.
I've got a hotel, the Radisson Red, right by the stadium,
right?
That wasn't even a thought when they were doing blocks for the Super Bowl.
Right.
So we don't have to follow the rules. We're just outside of the block. So we have a 4-night pattern at that hotel at a rate that is basically double.
Wow.
Everything else in the market.
Right.
And we know it, and it's a full hotel buyout. It's fine, or not. It's a few different groups.
So your recommendation is start building a hotel after all the blocks are
after all the blocks, but make sure you're open before. There's a hotel in our market at the airport that will open in March or April.
Right.
Horrible. But then from there, it's funny because the data, Expedia has phenomenal data, and they understand that lead time. And I remember when we were working at our hotel in Sunnyvale, California, preparing for the Super Bowl.
Right.
So they had the Super Bowl experience, the fan experience, was downtown.
Yeah.
The stadium is 45 minutes away, right? And we're right by the stadium, a couple miles. We didn't have many blocks, just a little bit here, nothing much.
Yeah.
So we're relying on transient to drive it, right? And we got to look at the channels and where everybody's shopping, so we had to make sure we were playing right. And there's demand for longer length of stay further out, right? There is some really high demand for high rates as you get close inside the 2 weeks,
right?
But they're short length of stays.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to be careful. I could get $1,000 room for a 1 night on Saturday, but I'd rather have $400 for 3 nights, right? Well, how you're able to do this is really, it's just constant management, right? So it's it's the day 2 weeks out when the NFC Championship and AFC Championship games are playing.
Right.
And as they're playing, you literally can watch the demand pop. And if I can see where the geo, where they were coming from, like New England's winning, right? Yeah. Well, if they're winning, all of a sudden, all the stuff's coming from the East Coast, right? And they're all booking, and it's literally, you can watch it, and as soon as that game ends, or it's declared a winner, basically, whoosh, and it just blows up, and you have to get that then, right? And then the AFC's in the morning or early, and the NFC's in the afternoon, then the same thing happens again. And I remember having discussions with my revenue manager. I bet you we had 15 calls on that Sunday.
Yeah.
We killed it. And it was we're just on top of it.
Yeah.
It was really easy to do.
It's not difficult to do, right?
No.
I mean, you're sitting in front of a TV watching the game and you're looking at your revenue management system.
Right. Can I get rate or can I get length of stay? I want length of stay first, but if I can get some rate, let's go ahead and see what we can do.
Yeah.
And our GI those days, unreal.
Yeah.
The owners of that hotel who have multiple hotels in that market, said, I don't know how you guys did it.
Right.
Watch TV. Right. I know.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's everyone's, well, I'm going to charge $700 for, I'll put a 4-night minimum on every night.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great. That's fine to do 8 months out, but when it comes time to booking, where is their demand? What are people willing to pay for? And where is, for patterns and pricing?
Yeah.
You have to be ready for it.
You have to be prepared for it. If there is one advice everyone should take away from this conversation, it is this. Set your strategies in time, watch your demand carefully, and be ready to act and adjust when the bookings start coming in. Steve and I could have chatted all day. He's a perfect example of someone who not just looks for revenue opportunities, but actively creates them for his hotels. He's a great example of someone who practices unconstrained thinking every day.